The front stairs here were added in 1892, replacing the original outdoor wooden steps. And at that time, stained glass windows were installed. Either side of me, there are windows commemorating two Italian poets, Torquato Tasso and Dante Alighieri. There are three more stained glass windows above the entrance, which we'll see in a moment. So behind me are the other three stained glass windows, which commemorate Benjamin Franklin, who was a scientist as well as one of the founding fathers of the United States, Ludwig van Beethoven, the composer, and Sir Isaac Newton. These windows were also installed in 1892. The Memorial Hall was created to commemorate the many Lisgar students who fought and died in the First World War. They're all named on this plaque behind me. And many more students who fought in the First World War and thankfully came back afterwards. The very first Lisgar graduate who died in World War I was someone rather special, Alexis Helmer. And there is a plaque on the wall here on my left, which is in memory of Helmer. He was buried in Flanders, and his burial inspired the poem In Flanders Fields, which was written by John McCrae. And it was that poem which has led to the poppy being the universal symbol worldwide of remembrance for the war dead. So Alexis Helmer is a very special Lisgar graduate, though unfortunately one who died very early on in the First World War. This memorial hallway also includes, farther over to my left, a bronze plaque in memory of the Lisgar students who died in the Second World War, and then a much larger list of the students who fought in that war. And there's also a small plaque in memory of those who fought and died in the Korean War. So this memorial hall is a rather solemn place. It's been decorated with a picture of Air Force officers for Remembrance Day this year, but it has some rather elaborate wood carving. Part of the wood carving was done by a school employee, the school carpenter, who actually contributed his time and skill to create a carved wall decoration here as part of this hallway. The hallway was blocked at one time by a large chimney which went right up the center, but then later on the chimneys were concealed in the walls. So you don't see them at all, but there is in fact a chimney either side of the library entrance concealed in the walls. And there's also a chimney inside the entrances to the offices that are either side of this memorial hall at the front. To the east and west of the hallway are large display cases which are used for trophies or for specific displays, such as a display which is on right now, which commemorates Lisgar graduates who have become important published authors. So here is the plaque for the war dead in the Second World War. And then as we go towards the west wing, a display case with trophies. This is complemented by an athletic wall of fame, which is over in the gymnasium. So these are trophies which have been awarded for various reasons over the years. And it's a commemoration of academic success as well as success in other fields. Lisgar's always had a very high reputation academically. If we go through into the east part of the hall, this display case is used for special purposes. There's a display here in memory of Nelson Mandela and a Halloween display. But the most important thing here, and this display changes from time to time, this commemorates Lisgar writers, authors who have been published in various fields, poetry, essays, novels, history, and so on. The main office occupies one of the 4 classrooms that were added to the school in 1892. At that time, the wall of the original building was completely covered up and plastered over. It became an interior wall of the classroom. And it was only in 1976, when they had to do more major renovations, that they uncovered these window openings. There was no glass in them anymore, but the students and principal of the school really felt that these window openings were part of the history of the school and should be preserved. They actually appear in an original photograph of the 1874 school. So the students had to raise $10,000 very quickly to cover the additional cost of preserving these window openings. And then a few years later, in 1984, they had another fundraising campaign for these stained glass windows, which have been inserted in the openings. The windows represent different elements of Lisgar's academic and athletic and social successes, including the letter L, which is the symbol of Lisgar achievement. So this memorial window is really something that was quite special. And so the city's new heritage plaque for the building, which is on the outside of the building, has also been installed at the side of this memorial window. The chimney that went from the basement to the roof is actually hidden in the wall behind me. So this wall is actually surrounding an invisible chimney which goes all the way to the attic.